We'll go with that. The passé simple will use that. So I finished, je finis, F-I-N-I-S. Tu finis, F-I-N-I-S. He finished, il finit. So effectively the same as the present. Okay? Now, where we had a, am, at, we're carrying on the A sound. We're now carrying on the I sound. And those of you that also study, for example, Spanish or Italian on the side, you will see this in the equivalent tenses in Spanish and Italian. So passato remoto or, for example, el pretérito, you will see this happening there with the same letter coming down. So those of you that I teach, like Callum, who's learning Spanish as well, be mindful of this. So, for example, if you had fini, then so we'd have fini, 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 finim, we're still going to the M, finit, we're still going to that T. Now, instead of air, we're going to go with finir. No accents on the I or anything like that. Can I remind you that every time we have a M and a T, you're going to have the accent. So, finim, accents on the I before the M. Finit, accents on the I before the T. Finir, no accent, I-R-E-N-T for the they, okay? So, if we had partir, parti, 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 partim, yeah, partit, partir, okay? Not that we need to sound them off. Please don't be sounding them off. Visualize them. I-S, I-S-I-T, I-M-E-S, I-T-E-S, I-R-E-N-T, okay? So, now let's move on to let's talk quickly about how there are verbs where you will hear an E somewhere else in the tense, in normal spoken French, so the passé simple grabs it, okay? So if you had to take prendre, which is not an ir verb, yeah, the past would be j'ai pris, j'ai pris. But what's our slogan? The passé simple loves E. So you would then have pris, 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 prime, prit, prir. Let me think if I can find a list of anything that will cough up a load that do that. Yeah, I guess anything that works with prendre. So compris would be the past. J'ai compris. So compris, compris, compris. Comprime, comprit, comprir. Any more? Yes, yeah, so apprendre, comprendre, entreprendre, reprendre, surprendre. So you've heard in the past normally, j'ai surpris. So surpris, surpris, surpris. So he surprised, il surpris. Okay? So, let's take a little moment to talk about something else. Not that you would need to build it up with your mouth, but you are used to sticking in pronouns and you are used to sticking in negatives. You are expert speakers. So, for example, he surprises me, normal, il me surprend. He surprised me, normal, in the past, il m'a surpris. Because in a normal French spoken past, we have to have what? The auxiliary. So, bits, then verbs, il m'a surpris. He surprised me, literary French, il m'a surpris. Yeah? So you're still going to have that order, the people involved, then the tense, okay? So let's talk about other andre verbs. So when you've got verbs, so normally in spoken French, when we look at RE verbs, I get really cross because I say this is bad teaching in school and you need to split these up into prendre categories where the hard letter will be, N, and the past will be pris, and you need to speak English, Luke, and you need to divide them into prendre verbs and other DRE verbs where we work in a standard way. So vendre, vendre, so vend, 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 vendant, vendez, vend, the hard letter is a D, and the past would be j'ai vendu. The same divide does not take place in the same way in the passé simple. So your standard DRE verbs are going to work like the ones we've just done. So the passé simple also likes U. Say this slogan for me. The passé simple also likes U. So if your word happened to have an U in your 1, 2, 3, so for example, j'ai pu, although we tend to use je pouvais or j'ai cru or j'ai su, you're going to have pu, 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 pum, pu, pur, or you're going to have su, 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 sum, su, sur, you're going to have the U. But if your verb comes through vendre, okay, even though they always have a du, so vendu, entendu, rendu, okay? That is not going to work in the same way. That is going to rely on the E. So what we could pretty much in overview say is that your A verbs go a, am, at, er, and your ir and your reverbs, all of them, both of them, are going to go letter I. I, im, it, ir. Now we're going to say that the re and the I, so we're going to basically say that most of those soft and hard verbs are going to find the letter I. So for example, if we had I heard, j'entendis, yeah, from entendre. Yeah, if we had, what else would we have? Let me try and find a list of similar verbs. And interestingly, notice that my mouth is not used to saying these. I mean, yes, I read them aloud and I read storybooks to my own head and to kids and all of this business, but it's not like in conversation where you come up with them very often. It's not like I don't know them, but it's not like in my teaching I'm used to going, right, think about this, because they just exist in a place that you don't talk about. You don't talk with these verbs, okay? So, yeah, so suspendre, another DRE verb, so suspendi, yeah? So basically what we're saying then in your mind is if you read these and you read a DIS or a DIS, a DIT, what are you taking from it? You're taking from it that would have been a DRE. So this is really important for you because, like I said, I don't need you to create the passé simple. I need you to be using your literature reading time to be extending your vocabulary. And a lot of these verbs you're going to be reading are going to be in le passé simple, and we need you to be able to lift the verb off the page and into something you could then use in real life, which I suggest you do. So if you read a passé simple verb, eyes up, think what would it be normally, okay? So let's move straight on then now. So now let's look at the big bads, the irregulars. So, what was our other slogans? So the slogans we've had so far is the passé simple loves the E sound. The passé simple also loves the U sound. So can you find for me in the verb to have a part anywhere in any tense where we have the sound U? J'ai eu, I have had, EU. Okay? So we would go U, so EUS, with very much SST in the passé simple. U, SST, EUS, EUT. All of this will be underneath. Ut, ur. So the m, the t, the r. Think mother, m, t, r. So whereas you had in the standard A verbs, parler, parla, parla, parlam, parlat, parler, the bottom one switched to an E. Any other pattern you use, whether it's U or I, the same vowel will go all the way down. I, im, it, ir, or U, ut, ur. Okay? So, yes, so what was I saying? Have. So, he had, il eut. Yeah? Nous eûmes, vous eûtes, ils eurent. Now, there is in your, I recommend Word Reference, a brilliant website, Holy Grail. If you were to look at Word Reference and you were to look up the conjugation of all of these verbs, you would see some of them are written in grey. Okay, we have two colour schemes on Word Reference. We have the standard black, obviously, but then we have two other colour schemes. We have the blue, which tells me it's an irregular, and we have the grey, which tells me it doesn't exist anymore. It's purely literary. It's purely... Now, I don't mean literary as in the passé simple. I mean as in it's old literature. We don't write that way anymore. So there are tenses which are the literary equivalent of the plus que parfait, of the had. So, for example, if you say he has spoken, il a parlé. He had spoken, il avait parlé. Yeah? Your auxiliary, you're sticking in that wishy-washy tense. You used to do exactly the same thing for he had spoken in literature. So he had would be il eut, yeah? Il eut parlé. Now you don't need to remember that. It's just if you, in anything you're reading, which would be pretty archaic, if you saw a passé simple of have or be, then another verb, that's what's going on. It's the oldie worldy version of the plus que parfait, the plus perfect. Okay, and you could have it with an extra verb as well. Yeah, so for example, il est parti. What's the verb to be in the passé simple? I shall give it you quickly now. Fut. So il fut parti. You know, you would have this. But ditch. It's all literary, and you certainly don't need to be commanding that for exams ever. Okay? Unless you're sort of doing degree level and whatnot, and then I just recommend you get in touch with me then. So, carrying on. So the verb to have in the subjunctive, in the passé simple is eu. Ut, ur. Okay? If we go and we have a look again at the verb, once again, we've got an accent above the vowel before the M and the vowel before the T. Okay? Lovely. Now let's look at the verb to be. Now, this is going to weird the hell out of you because this is a letter F. We talk about the verb to be as E and S. Je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. We jump backwards before S and E. Okay? And I've probably still got the S and E written on my hand from when I was teaching somebody the other day, and I literally had S and E. I was like, punch my hand. Which one is it? Je suis, tu es. And we've come across E's and S's in other places. So, que je sois, subjunctive, letter S. Je serai, will be, future, letter S. So we're used to letters E and letters S for the verb to be. Here's a new one, the letter F. Now this is not all that weird. If you've done Spanish or if you've done Italian, you will have come across this letter in the verb, or even Welsh, if you've come across this verb to be in the you will have come across the letter F in the verb to be. So it has no relationship to anything else you've ever come across in the verb to be, but you are going to have to learn this one for me. So just say for me, fut. Now if I gave you fut, and I told you it was F-U-S, fut, what have you learned? Carry it down for me. Fut, 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 fume, accent before the M, fut, accent before the T, fur, okay? Be. Now this is a really odd one to describe to you because this is always translated as was. But you've just said, but Luke, you told me was exists in the passé simple. So for description, you would have il était, and for actions, for example, like il fut would be there as well. So this is a really annoying thing to get across. This is like all my Spanish learning students that struggle between the el pretérito and the imperfect. So for those guys who know who you are, this is like the debate between fue and era. Okay, but you don't need to be using this because you're never going to be producing this. But it's just basically, if you read fut, you can translate it as was. It's from the verb to be. Okay, lovely. Now let's look finally, and again this list is underneath. Oh, I'm sorry, we've got the verb to go, haven't we? Which is also one of our weird ones. And let's do. So verb to go often surprises us. What's go in the imperfect? Aller, aller, aller. Allions, allier, aller. Wow, as weird as you are, guys, in the j'irai or que j'aille subjunctive or je suis allé or any of this other weird, crazy stuff. Even the present tense, je vais, tu vas, it's odd. But the one place that this verb is okay is when it relies on the fact that for all its weird everywhere else, it's basically an ER ending verb. Same here. Aller, alla, alla, allam, allat, aller. Yeah, we don't carry the A down, do we? So you'll read this loads. Harry went to see his uncle. Yeah. Harry alla. Yeah, you'd see it. Okay. You will read that word loads in literary French. Okay. And when I say literary, what am I saying? Books, normal books, not like high-end books, normal books. Yeah. The Worst Witch or Harry Potter or Tales from Narnia or well, they're beautifully written. But you see what I'm saying? Even kids' books. The princess went. Whatever, la princesse alla, okay? Good. So now let's look at a couple of irregulars. Okay, so again, I've provided you with a sheet of irregulars that will be underneath in the description, in the links, okay? So, where have I placed these? Lovely. So we're going to talk about why these are irregular and see if we can find patterns, okay? But again, we don't need to produce them. We just need to recognise them so that if you saw them or you saw them with a prefix before them, you would know what the main verb was to add to your beautiful, extensive vocabulary. Okay? So, Let's read the irregulars. So, to have, u. You've done that one already. Follow it down. Ut, ur. To drink. Now, what was one of my slogans? If you